Now, this week's guest is one of my very good friends, and she's also one of the hottest talents in Ireland right now. She's her own daily radio show on RT2 FM, was a finalist on this year's Dancing with the Stars. It is the gorgeous Laura Fox.
I am. Oh, wow. I'm such a woo-woo girl. There were so many moments where I was like, woo, 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 Bradley check. Woo,
Yes,
let's go.
I love it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming, because you are the busiest woman in Ireland.
Yeah, I know, but this is really good crack.
Oh, good. I'm delighted.
I
am
kind of
delighted.
only say yes to gigs that are good fun.
Good.
Which is a great place in my life to be in.
And we're also cosplaying as one another today.
I can. We slag all the time that we're like sisters and we're
Sisters.
like, oh, we're the same. And I literally showed up twinning with you right now.
And you're
in
wearing your
brown tops.
weave.
I am. I stuck the weave in just for this.
Oh my God,
Yeah, I know,
thank
because
you.
I'm so lazy all the time these days that you've
Girl.
seen my hair woes. But I was like, today I'm going to make an effort for you.
Thank
Vicki.
you, babe. I appreciate it. I was on a beach in Corfu in Greece when I got your text, and I squealed so loudly that the old couple next to me was like, "Is she okay?" I was like, "Joe, Brian did it," and he knew exactly what I meant.
Oh
he
my
knew
God.
exactly what I meant. He was like, "Good man, Brian."
Do you know what the gas thing about this is everyone's like, oh, finally got his knee weak and finally dropped down and all that kind of stuff. But it's hilarious. Like, I have asked Brian purposely and specifically for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
I was like, please don't ask me to marry you, because we will do it, but I want to make sure that we can do it on an even playing field. Like, I didn't want to be under pressure. Like, we knew exactly what we wanted to do when we got married. We knew that we wanted to go to Italy. We knew it was going to be a big wedding because I have so many family and so
Yeah.
many good friends.
Because you're such a friendly gal.
No, but I just love everybody, and like my family's huge, and his family's double the size of my family.
Right.
So we always
Good Galway people.
Good Galway people. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're really, really representing the brand strong. But we always knew how we wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's no point when I don't have a job. And then all my jobs came at once.
But aren't you a lucky girl
I know,
nonetheless?
I'm
No, you're
so
flying.
happy. Yeah,
I'm so
awesome.
proud. It means I never see you anymore, but I'm so proud.
I know, but look at you just had to.
I know,
go
I
and
had
get
to book
something.
you for the show to
And
get to hang
actually,
out.
I would love to say you booked me on Electric Picnic this year when you had an idea of
I
this.
did.
Yeah, but Vicki, you never cease to amaze me, right? You're always working, and you were like, do a new podcast. This is it. What's your favorite movie? And now can I point out day 3 of Electric Picnic.
The Sunday.
This Sunday, and I just come home of 2 weeks of holidays, so I was fairly rattled, and I was like, "How to lose a guy in 10 days?" And then I thought you would have forgotten that.
Oh, no.
I got a text 2 weeks later say, "Hey, you're booked in for this date. Just this time work. How to lose a guy in 10 days. All I ask that you watch it once between now and then."
I mean, that's how you do it, right? And here we are. So thank you for picking such an iconic film.
I love it.
I have to say, it is up there for me at one of my faves. So How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days came out in 2003, directed by Donald Petrie, who's the same guy that directed Miss Congeniality, which we were also going to discuss on this podcast. So Donald, well done on your prolific career.
Bravo, Donald.
So I didn't know this about the film. It's based on a 1998 self-help dating book.
I'm shocked you didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
But that's like, you're very much like book to movie gal.
Yes,
You know,
but it's actually a picture book
Okay.
of all the things that women do wrong in relationships.
all right. Not where I thought that was going. When you said picture book, I thought the style, because it's so iconic. But no,
it's like illustrations.
Oh, it's very 90s. Shame
Yes.
the women.
But this was part of like a trend. Basically, there was a lot of kind of book to like self-help books to movies. There was What to Expect When You're Expecting.
Love.
He's Just Not That Into You.
Love.
Like, I mean,
Oh my
it's
God,
a good
I'm the
idea.
problem. I was their
You're the
audience.
problem. Exactly. So it was a vehicle for Kate Hudson. She had been kind of gaining in popularity. She'd starred as the iconic Penny Lane in Almost Famous, and she was the original kind of nepo baby actress.
Yeah.
Her mother is Goldie Hawn, like, and she's every bar of her. So it was kind of a vehicle for her as a star, and it works. It works
so
on
good.
so many levels. I absolutely love the tagline. One of them is lying, so is the other. It's actually very complex for a rom-com. It really is. And another one of my favourite things about this film is that it has the classic leaning rom-com poster. So Matthew McConaughey is basically doing the exact same thing in the poster for Failure to Launch, except instead of Kate Hudson, it's Sarah Jessica Parker. Like, he's just leaning on her.
They probably didn't even have to redo the shoot.
Probably not. It's just him
one
leaning.
face.
And he does it for the poster for Ghost of Girlfriend's Past as well. Like, it was obviously a thing. Pretty Woman, there's a leaning poster too where they're back to back.
Very, very
I
of its
mean,
time.
maybe they just can't face each other because
No.
the sexual tension is too high. But look, it's a brilliant film. It's a big studio film. Paramount had a $50 million budget, which is modest enough.
Yeah.
And it was a smash hit, took 200 million at the box office. But by the end of the same year, the DVD had netted an extra $67 million in profit.
It doesn't shock me at all.
It was the blockbuster era.
But I feel like as well that time was so pivotal because 2003 was when I started secondary school. So that was one of those things. You weren't streaming movies.
No, of course not.
So
you're going to the video shop.
Yeah.
Or buying DVDs on play.com.
Oh my God. Sorry,
Right,
what's play.com?
yeah.
Sorry, I was in my life. I was not privy to play.com. I was buying them off the side of the road in the Galway races.
Oh my God. I used to be flat out in the naughties on play.com. You get like 10 DVDs for like probably about €40, but like that would last me.
Yeah.
You know, so I built my collection.
But we didn't crave as much, instant gratification. It was like you weren't looking for the next episode. You would just rewatch things.
I was just rewatching Beaches every week and crying every single week. But it's true, you did like, you weren't always searching for the next thing.
No.
You were just consuming.
You would happily rewatch movies all the time.
How many times do you think you've watched How to Lose a Guy?
I actually don't know, because if I think about just even that 5-year period when I was in school, and that and Uptown Girl were like my two favourite movies at the time.
Brittany Murphy classic.
Yeah, oh, so good. But I think I would have watched it maybe 10 times a year at that point. And like now, since I will comfort watch this and it never gets old for me. I just think, some movies you can look back at them and be like, oh, they're really dated and there's so much going on. I was like, this was just so perfect. But it was the style. It's the style. It was that yellow dress. That's all I wanted for my graduation, was that yellow dress. And I ended up in a gold one, so it wasn't so bad for the time. Yeah.
See, I was never the kind of girly that would look at what people were wearing on screen or even in magazines and be like, I want to wear that. I'd be just like, oh, that, it wouldn't suit me. I might copy the makeup, but like the clothes, maybe not so much.
Fair enough.
But the yellow, like, put it this way, my ditties were always massive, so I could never wear that backless yellow satin dress.
You do have massive knockers.
I mean, that dress, she doesn't wear a bra once in this film.
She doesn't need it.
She doesn't need it. She has what I like to call fashion ditties.
Yeah, she does. She's not well endowed, and it really works.
But they're fabulous.
Yeah,
and she's so stunning.
Even
but you're
that
right.
little white t-shirt that she wears at one point,
in the
it's
sex
just
scene, and he pulls it off over her head, and you're like, she doesn't need a bra.
No.
So now she's naked.
So gorgeous.
Fair play to her. So yeah, it's not a quotable film. The
No, at all.
dialogue isn't snappy.
Yeah.
But it's a style film.
But it is. It's so stylish all the way through. But there's so many moments in it as well that you can vividly remember. Like, obviously it's the yellow dress is the big one with the diamonds and all that, and then playing off each other and all that. But when they do the scene in the takeaway, where like they're sitting down and the game is on, and she's like, I'm a vegan, I'm this, I'm that, and then she goes into the back and she's like chewing on the on the hot dog, watching the game on thing, and then comes back out. I think I always wanted to be her, so I wanted to play boys.
Do you know what, you're a tomboy, so I can see how you could be an Andie Anderson kind of figure. But like many movies in the noughties, it is kind of very strange about like food and eating. So she works for a magazine called Composure, and one of the girls is like the diets editor of the magazine.
So traumatic.
It's so traumatic. And one of the girls, so her friend gets dumped right at the very beginning. Now this film made me think that if I ever got dumped, my friends would come over in the middle of the working day and rescue me. That has never happened. You're left to wallow in your own misery.
Sorry, you're also not going into work.
Exactly.
Like, you're not taking a day off work because you just got dumped.
She's like, I'm not going to let you get fired, babe. And I'm like, God, friends are great. I can't wait to have them when I grow up. Like, no, that is not how that worked out.
No, life does not work that way.
But basically, the premise for the film is that Andie Anderson works at this magazine, Composure. She's their resident how-to girl. So I used to be a how-to girl. So this film relates to me so much. This film, along with The Devil Wears Prada and 13 Going on 30,
the wardrobe,
are responsible for me working in magazines. So I don't know whether to thank them or cry about it, because they were a different era. They were, there was no shoe closet in Stellar magazine. Unfortunately, there should have been. But they were so inspiring to me as a wannabe journalist, and like they're so of their time, because print is all but obsolete now. So there's such a time capsule, but with that time capsule comes horrible things like diet culture.
Diet culture is just so mad to think, and like it's only in the last 5 years, I think, that we're coming out the other end of it, where you're kind of going, oh, hang on a second,
we're calling it out.
And going with it. But it's so insane to me to think of how many years that we all suffered, and everyone did.
Everyone did. But it was the norm. You were meant to suffer if you weren't trying to actively like undereat. It was weird.
What diet are you on?
Exactly.
How is that even a question?
Have you tried that? It's nutty.
It like low fat everything, low fat this, low fat that. And I think like in the years since I've done the complete flip where like I cannot taste, like, you know, like people love their DCs, like their Diet Cokes and everything, and like they physically make me gag.
Really, I do love a DC, but not because it's diet.
No, just because you like the taste of
Yeah.
it. Like I hate that. Or like lighter than light mayo. I'm like, do I hate my life? No.
I mean, like, good. I'm glad that we've recovered because it was an era. Like, Andie is seen as this perfect girl, but one thing she does throughout the film is shove food in her gob.
Yeah.
She's shoving like cakes, big wraps, burgers, and it's just like, it's so unrealistic because like everyone else in the film is worried about being fat.
But that's the whole point of contention, is because she's so incredibly skinny
Yeah.
that it's just like she has it all. She can eat what she wants. She can do what
She's
she
the
wants.
perfect girl.
She
But
is.
she says to her friend, babe, if I acted like you, boys wouldn't like me either.
Wild.
It is wild, but like
Yeah.
they're like, it's actually funny because Kate Hudson is known for this curly blonde hair.
Yeah.
But at the beginning, she's all like blow dried straight and all like slick and wearing like magazine girly clothes. And then as the film progresses, she becomes more herself.
Yeah.
And more comfortable in herself. But at the beginning, she is this like, I'm a lady magazine journalist and I'm slick as fuck. So her friend gets dumped. They're working at a magazine and they're told to basically mind their own lives for trauma, which again,
We
something
do.
Something I did as a journalist all the time.
I'm currently doing it for a radio show.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
It's so bad that like if anything happens in my life that is in any way upsetting,
It's content.
I put it in my notes app. And I regurgitate it, and I find a gag at the end of it, and I use it as an out to go
Well,
into
that's
the
probably
sun.
good.
Yeah,
That's like
I can
free
see-
therapy.
I can see the bright side. I'm
Basically.
like, perfect. This is unreal.
But there's the editor is saying like, have you got any ideas? And Andie Anderson wants to write about international politics.
Yeah.
And editor lady who's brilliant. Oh my God, she's absolutely amazing. She's played by BB Newirth, and she is kind of an Anna Wintour light.
Yeah.
She's
Light.
the sharp bob and, you know, very kind of bony, like, ooh. And she's just an amazing dragon lady editor.
Yeah.
But she's like, you know, who's going to mine this girl's life for trauma if she won't do it herself? And Andie says, I'll do it. I'll do all the things that women do wrong in relationships, and I'm going to pick a guy and I'm going to drive him away, and it's going to be a what not to do guide.
Yeah.
And they're like, perfect. Now, this was never a good idea, right?
Ever.
As an editor, I would have said hard no, because it's messy and it's too personal. I get it, but a lot of this film is fantasy. The magazine's a fantasy. The advertising company that Ben works at is fantasy, where they literally play pool all day.
You do this to me all the time, Vicki Notaro.
I ruin
You
magazines.
magazines for me.
sorry.
You ruin the life that I never had, that I always wanted, and it still sits there rent free of me thinking this is the life. That's, as far as I am concerned, that is the life that you left, all right? That you walked
I
away
had a
for.
drawer of cosmetics, and I had a beanbag at one point.
That's pretty impressive.
That was nice. No, look, magazines are amazing. In Ireland, obviously, they're different. I'm
Well,
sure.
I
Vogue
doubt.
is-
I doubt they were like this in the States as well. Like, I mean, it's. I still don't think that there's any magazine in the world where you genuinely get to walk into this wardrobe that
Yeah.
is full of Vera Wang.
But you definitely don't get to touch it.
No.
If it exists, it's not for consumption.
and you're not throwing it on you to go down and get a coffee or go on a date
No.
or something like that.
That's true.
But I would like to live in that fantasy that is the way the life
Well, I'd like
exists.
to have lived in the glory days of magazines. I feel like I missed them by literally 6 months.
Probably.
literally 6 months. Take me back, time machine. But Andie has decided to write this feature. So in order to do it, she has to find a willing man. So she goes to the bar. And this is the first time in pop culture that women picking up men at a bar is deemed acceptable. And that's thanks to
Andie
Sex and
Anderson.
the City. Well, Carrie Bradshaw first.
Well, yeah.
They're drinking martinis. They're hurrying around the bar looking for fellas. And that before wouldn't have been acceptable. Like
so
this
wild.
man eating, like it'd be like, oh, only in New York kind of thing.
Yeah.
But she finds this guy. Little does she know that Ben, played by Matthew McConaughey, has a mission of his own. And that is to make a woman fall in love with him in 10 days. It's very complex as a narrative for a romantic comedy. So she's trying to find a guy to deter, and he's trying to find a woman to prove that loves him. So he wins an advertising account.
This is so, like, it's so well written because it doesn't get complicated. You know exactly what's happening.
Very well done.
Yeah.
It is. So he's trying to hook a woman because allegedly making a woman fall in love is the same thing as making a woman want to buy diamonds.
Clearly.
I mean, the logic works in the film, and as long as it works in the world of the film, then that's
Yeah.
fine. But watching it now, I'm like, would you buy yourself diamonds?
No.
I don't think so. I think it's a thing that, like,
It's a very milestone. Maybe, sorry, That is
If I was a millionaire, I would.
possibly.
Yeah.
Or try buy a house. But but I'm too practical with my money
Same.
nowadays. But also I never ever looked at, I'm not a jewellery collector.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm not like, even when it came to an engagement ring.
Yeah.
Like Brian had no idea because I'd never tried them on before. They weren't a top priority for me. I just kept saying, oh, we'll go try them on ourselves. Like
Yeah.
together, it'll be fine. We'll have a good crack. I always said to him I could never see myself with like a big sparkly ring. And
You got one, baby.
well, because we went in to pick them out and I kept going, is that coming in a bigger size?
because you're a glam girl.
Yeah, but again, I think this is it for me.
Yes.
Like, you know,
you're not going to buy yourself a diamond tennis bracelet next.
I don't
Like,
think so.
no.
I don't think that that's me, and I don't think it suits me. So like that is so unrealistic to me because
Yeah.
I'm like, why would I spend my money on that? But that's just because I'm not that way inclined. I
Fair.
know girls who are very much like collect their jewellery.
Right. Well, I know a man, my husband, who collects his watches to the point where I'm like, we're going to start doing one in, one out
Yeah.
because he has too many watches.
Because we could get another car for that one,
we
Joe.
could get another car for that one, Joe. Beck's like, look, he likes it, so I'll let him away with it. But yeah, straight from the start, there are all of these crazy, naughty things, from the fat jokes to the, you know, wild
God, the fat
spending.
jokes make you so uncomfortable.
But the wild spending as well, because this is pre-crash.
Oh, yeah.
So like everyone has loads of money. The advertising budget for the diamonds is $50 million. Like it's so Celtic Tiger, but in the States.
Sorry, like
it's so
I
different.
was actually done dirty, and everyone of my
We all
age
were.
was, because when we came out of school,
Yeah.
I actually vividly remember, like, I wasn't going to college, like that. It wasn't really on the agenda for me because I didn't know, like, it was like science or engineering or nursing.
Imagine you as a science major.
Like, I mean, I pretty much failed biology and ag science, and they're the same subject, and they're the easiest science that you can actually do. And like trying to convince teachers, I was like, I don't think there's any point in me going into science if I'm not good at this here. But it was this whole push and drive to get you to college.
Yeah.
It didn't matter what you did; it was just get into college. Whereas I always had the narrative where I was like, I don't really think that this life is for me, and it's also a waste of money. My whole dream goal when I was coming out and I couldn't figure out what I was actually going to do was that I was like, I'll make a tenner an hour, like in a bar or waitressing. And then I came out and it was like, it's $8.65 now. And I was like, what?
Well, try coming out of college with a film studies and English degree into that fun time. I was lucky in that. I was very lucky. Magazines scooped me up then.
Yeah.
So thank you, magazines. So Andie has decided to try and hook this guy, and now straight away when they meet, this chemistry.
Yeah.
Matthew McConaughey, for some reason, he takes his top off in front of his colleagues. He's all ripped to the gods. He's actually
Sorry, very naughties as well.
so naughty, and he's actually more groomed than she is. Like his forehead does not move, and his skin is like perfect, gleaming. She looks quite normal, but in a gorgeous way.
In a Hollywood,
Exactly.
you're a
but
regular
her hair's
girl.
a bit fuzzy, and you know she's not perfect, but like she's stunning and fabulous. Whereas he's like Mr. Manicured. But like the bit when he's in the advertising agency, just whipping off his clothes in front of his mates, and they're just all like, "Oh, here's your man again." Like
They don't question it.
they don't question it at all.
And
because he's this perfect like type of man who's like so comfortable with his body and himself and his sexuality and getting the girls that he thinks he can make a woman fall madly in love with him in 10 days. He's an arrogant prick.
yeah. He sorry, this is always so true that if you come across any character in real life, you fucking hate them.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. I'd loathe him.
Like, if any lad, not that there's many lads in my office, but if any of them took their top off, I'd be like, what are you doing?
I'd call the police.
Yeah.
I really
hate
would.
your words.
And like he looks great, but at the same time, just like put it away, mate.
But at the time we were like, wow.
Wow,
This is what
Matthew
we're coming into.
McConaughey. Look at his curly hair, like. But it was gas. But so this is where the film gets very layered. So his colleagues know about his bet.
Yeah.
They also know about her story.
Yeah.
So they're the only people, these two gorgeous women. One of them is actually a supermodel, Shalom Harlow. This is one of her first acting roles. And they're the only people who know the crack. They know that he's fighting a losing battle essentially, and that she's going to try her darndest to drive him away because they want the same diamonds account that he wants. So it's very layered. It's very political. There's work stuff. There's love stuff. Andie has been told if she writes this article and it's a smash, she can write about politics. Basically, Andie has this list of things that she's going to do. So these are the things that women do in relationships that drive men away. Right?
Yes.
Gas. What do men do? I would like to see the opposite of this film.
They've just been men.
Yeah, basically.
It's one simple line. No
So
offense, lads.
they have this chemistry. They go to this basketball game together. They're getting on great. And she's like, shit, this is meant to be, I have a job
other
to
way.
do. I have a job to do here. So she ruins the game for him. straight away. She's like, I'd like a Coke, please, Ben. So he misses the pinnacle of the game. Then she calls him at work to say she misses him and baby talks and calls him Benny Wenny. She brings him to see Sleepless in Seattle, which to me is a great date. She thinks he'll hate it, but he's a smart guy, so he doesn't hate it, but she does get him punched in the face for disturbing the peace. Loads of casual violence in these naughties rom-com.
Just because.
Every one of them has a punch in the face. Yeah. Every single one of them. Jeremy, everyone we've discussed in the past few episodes has a punch in the schnoz. Because casual violence was cool in the early noughties.
It really was. And lads punching lads was just kind of... A lad fighting over you was kind of the goal.
That was seen as the goal, yeah. Whereas now I would be so icked by anything like that.
Like, stay away. I mean, it would be kind of awkward. You're married.
Yeah. I'd be like, sorry, I've got the ick, Joe. Sorry, I'm out.
Sorry about Joe. Like,
she then, she brings him a love fern and some teddies.
The love fern. Oh my God.
It's
the
amazing.
amount of times in the last 20 years that I have quoted, let's get a love fern.
Like, do you have one?
It's a love fern. No, because I can't keep anything alive. My love fern
except your dog.
Except for my dog.
Yeah. Your love fern is Thor.
Yes.
She names his dick Princess Sophia.
Princess Sophia is the best name ever.
It's amazing. She puts hideous frilly home accessories around his house.
The doilies.
The doilies on his toilet. Absolutely amazing. She buys him a dog, which again I would love.
Sorry, can we just actually, because there's so many parts of this movie and I know you need to get to it. The dog just appears.
Yes.
Right?
Where did she get it?
Yeah. And also, who's supposed to mind this fucking dog? When you take off into the sunset on your motorbike, or even when they go to visit his family.
Yeah, where's the dog?
Where's the dog?
And like the dog does kind of become his sidekick.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're right, it's not very responsible dog ownership.
Yeah,
She also she buys the dog a Burberry outfit and Ben a matching Burberry outfit. And I actually was surprised he didn't take his shirt off this time in front of his colleagues to try the Burberry top on. He put it on over the shirt he was already wearing.
Although I can't really say much about matching gear. Like I would do the same.
Oh, I probably would as well, but for the crack.
Yeah, you have got matching pajamas for your whole family.
Yes.
Same.
It's kind of cool now.
It's really cutesy.
Buying a guy you were dating 3 days though, matching clothes. Kind of, yeah.
Kind of psycho.
Like, I was wondering at what point he would have ghosted her in reality, but let's be honest, it probably would have been straight away. So she probably wouldn't have even got to do any of this stuff.
Yeah, or again, because no offense, boys, but she's so hot.
So hot.
You wonder
she's demonic.
Yeah, but you wonder how far they push it out. Like, would it be until they actually, like in real life, would this actually be like, wait until they sleep together?
Yes.
And then just ghost her.
So that's key. They haven't slept together because she's drawn a line under it straight at even though they have this crazy chemistry, she's been like, no. I noticed that her wardrobe transforms as soon as she transforms into this nightmare.
Yeah.
And it's actually very reminiscent of, don't come for me Swifties, Taylor Swift's wardrobe. You know the way she wears a lot of like matchy stuff, or she'll wear the same pattern often. She used to wear a lot of those kind of sweetheart neck prom dress style things, and that's what Andie's wearing when she's trying to be twee and sugary and mental.
So Taylor Swift, thank Andie Anderson.
Yes. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, we won't have any Swift slander here, just in case we get cancelled.
No, sorry, I'm not an idiot. She is my livelihood.
No, and look, she's amazing, but I did think of her a lot when rewatching. When the things that Kate Hudson
it's actually
is wearing.
Now that you pointed out, I'm like, yeah, no, I can totally
Taylor would
see
wear
that.
all of that stuff, absolutely. She also crashes his boys' night. She makes a composite of their faces to see what their kids would look like.
Sorry, didn't we all do that though?
No.
On Facebook let you do that, where you could upload 2 pictures for one. You could do it with like any lad you fancied.
Oh my God. Well, this
I
is
was
even
flat out. Sorry, as a woman who doesn't want children, I was flat out doing this, and they all resulted in a dog.
Perfect. That's ideal. Like, I could definitely be down for that. She calls his mother to get the baby photos of him. She brings him to a Celine Dion concert, which again I would love.
I have so many, like, I keep interrupting you at every point here, but there's so much that just goes. The calling of the mother is a huge thing in the States that I think actually happens. It's like people are always talking to their other half's mother behind their back very early on.
Yeah, it doesn't Carrie get really pissed off in Sex and the City when Big won't introduce him
it's
to
such
her
a
mother.
Huge thing.
Yeah, I mean, my mother. We say that Joe married his mother because we're the same.
Oh well, I know
so
that.
I'm best friends with her.
She wouldn't
but I
have been
waited to
her
be introduced
3 days deep, going behind her back saying, "Send me baby pictures."
No, but she would have if I did. That's the beauty of my mother-in-law, an icon. She also makes him go to couples therapy after 7 days,
and he does.
He goes. She then accuses him of both being gay and hitting on their therapist.
It's the homophobic language.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Like all throughout the noughties, it's just like, oh wow, you can totally understand how anybody who was gay at that time was so terrified.
Petrified to come out. Yeah,
because
absolutely.
it was slandered, like not only obviously in your day-to-day life, but then every film you watch lands like this.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's a bad thing.
Absolutely, and there's no kind of representation at a women's magazine in 2003.
there's
There
no
would have been
gays.
gays galore, like,
Yeah.
and they would have been like, "This is a bad idea. Don't do that." But she has a brief moment of regret for driving this nice guy away.
Yeah.
But she also has a job to do, and she's a professional. And
But
she
I mean,
needs...
you got to look at it though. Like, are you really gonna like look at it from her point of view in a real life standpoint? Like, you know this guy 7 days, and you also know exactly what you want to do in your career. This could go to shit down the line.
You would
regardless.
absolutely do this.
I would 100% do this. If you genuinely, if you had said, if there was something on the line and it was like, here's how you're going to get your radio
Promotion
show,
or-
and
yeah.
this is exactly how it's going to happen, but you need to do this kind of a thing beforehand. That
and it's not illegal or
it's
morally
a social
corrupt.
test.
Yeah,
It's a social test. I probably would have been like, yeah,
I'll do it.
let's try it and let's see what happens.
Maybe we should remake How to Lose a Guy with Laura
Well, I mean,
Fox.
I'm already engaged, so
Yeah, Brian
too
will
late.
understand. Brian will understand. So it basically all culminates with him bringing her to Staten Island to hang out with his family, where she is completely enchanted.
The shower scene.
Oh, the sex scene again. The best thing about rom-coms is they do make you gag for the sex.
Yeah,
They're like,
so
come
good.
on, get
Yeah.
down to it. But she's actually in love with his family. Like, she loves his mom. They're already friends because she rang her for baby photos. And they're playing this stupid game called Bullshit. that actually
Bullshit.
really annoyed me. I was like, they do explain why this southern family is in Staten Island.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I was like listening out for the explanation because I was like, this is so strange. But they have this amazing view of Manhattan from this gaff in Staten Island. Like, I would have fallen in love with the real estate, let alone the family. I would have been like, wow, I want to live here.
Never mind the career.
No, that's maybe
Look
I'd
what
give it
else
all
the
up
city
for
is.
like, yeah, an apartment in New
you
York.
wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't. It's true. But she's mad about him after spending time with his family because she sees him with his nephews and his sister, and she's just like,
But you
"Ugh."
can tell a lot about people by how they treat their family.
Absolutely.
And how they act around them and how their family acts around them.
And I feel like the one's family should be like a bonus.
Yeah,
Now, not
100%.
everyone is that lucky. I'm blessed with mine, and Joe's blessed. Like we're lucky. Like,
Yeah.
But I think if they'd been horrible, she would have been like, well, fuck this. Like, I'd be happy to walk away from
Well,
this.
100%. She wouldn't have felt bad about being like really nasty.
Yeah.
Like, and
Imagine being mean about him to his mom. Like,
I couldn't.
It's, yeah, it's
like I
harsh.
actually couldn't. Also, like so funny because anytime I might slag Brian around his mother, she'll be like, "My Brian, how dare you speak about him?
my
like that?"
boy, my boy.
my Brian, my youngest child."
Oh, gosh.
she's half slagging but half serious
Yeah,
as well,
yeah.
and I'm like, "Okay, I get it."
Fair. So she basically warms to him so much that they end up riding in the shower.
Yeah, it's so
And it's gorgeous. And he pulls off her vest. And again, her hair is frizzy. She's not this perfect journalist girl. She's just a woman.
And it's like but it's this level of passion that isn't like, I'm just gonna ride the bones off you right now,
Yeah.
and this is gonna
Yeah,
be
it's
a one and done.
romantic.
It's very like, shit, I think we're in love.
Yeah.
And I think that's like what throughout the whole movie you look at that and you're like, oh my god, I want this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
so gorgeous.
And it's after that she tries to get out of the article.
Yeah.
She's like to her editor, please don't make me do this. And the editor's like, tough tits. It's on the cover line. Like,
This is what you're doing.
it's happening. The
Yeah.
cover line is massive. How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. Iconic cover line, by the way.
So iconic.
And he is like, he doesn't feel bad about her falling in love with him because he's in love too.
Yeah.
But it's all going to lead towards this big date that they have. And it's at a diamond ball where he's going to be chosen basically to receive this account. And she shows up in the yellow dress.
You're
looking,
so vain.
yeah, like looking like $1,000,000.
Oh, like
Unbelievable.
Like, do you know what the gas thing is now? So like 2003 is when this came out. 2008 was when I had my graduation. This yellow dress, you could not find, like there wasn't like online sites that
Yes.
you could get.
To whip it up in 5 minutes.
Yeah, like, you know, like, so like you could pick this anywhere now or find something of it, or you could probably get it made for really not that much.
Yeah.
But like at the time, I remember there was just these dodgy sites that were in America that I
Yeah.
was like, I don't know if this
Bridesmaids
is
dress sites.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that you were like, oh, it's kind of like it, and it's the how to lose a dress or a dress, how to lose a guy in 10 days dress, how to lose a dress in 10 days is exactly what you were paying for. But it was like, oh my god, it was just like lust over it, the way it fell on her,
It was
the way
perfect.
she was.
Like, I presume it was made for her.
100%.
It would have to be.
Yeah.
It's literally backless. You can nearly see the top of her arse.
Yeah, but
her
so
cheeks
perfectly.
look perfect.
Yeah.
And she doesn't need to wear a bra, so it's just breathtaking. But again, how many people with that canary yellow colour suit in silk.
Oh no.
Very few.
Very, very
Which
few.
is why it's iconic. And the diamond man puts like the most expensive necklace with a canary. Canary yellow diamonds were big then. Do you remember when J-Lo and Ben got engaged the first time? Yes. That was a canary yellow diamond. I remember thinking like, that's cool. Whereas now I'd be like, a yellow diamond?
Like,
forever? No.
Yeah.
Very of its time.
But you have to be very expensive to decide you want to do that in case you want to change your mind.
Exactly.
It's totally fine.
But she looks breathtaking. And he actually, his tux is very interesting because it's not your bog standard. It looks to me like a Tom Ford. He's wearing a tie instead of a dicky bow. He looks very slick and very put together and not like, you know, the dude with the curly hair that says.
No, he just looks so gorgeous.
He looks gorgeous.
Yeah.
But it's at this party that when they're already in love, that they find out about each other's missions.
Which to me is so wild. And it's I do this all the time where I'm screaming at the telly and Brian is always like, that's not a good storyline. Like, where I'm like, why didn't they just have a conversation before this? And then they could have had it put to bed. They each could have like confessed to each other.
Yeah.
Still played to their editors dumb. He could have got the gig.
Yeah.
She could have also got the
article,
and then they could have sailed off into the sunset the same, and it didn't need the chasing in a motorbike in a taxi.
I don't think we'd have a rom-com genre if that was the case.
No,
though.
I know.
So let's be grateful that people do not communicate properly. But it's his naughty little colleague that starts stirring the pot because she knows both sides.
Yeah.
So she whispers to his friends who tell Andie, and then the diamond, or her editor actually tells Ben. And instead of having a conversation or even a fight, they decide to sort this out through the passive-aggressive medium of song.
Karaoke.
They get up on stage with Marvin Hamlish, who's an icon of New York music. And they say, oh, Marvin, give us You're So Vain. And they have this passive-aggressive duet where they talk about the size of his dick and how his lovemaking is lame. And it's crazy. Like, how they could ever even look at each other again is beyond me. But it's iconic.
Oh, and then she runs out of
wearing the
diamond. And she gets chased down for the diamond, which is so embarrassing.
So embarrassing. And he catches her and says, you absolute bitch, I can't believe you did this. And she was like, fuck you and your bet. Like,
yeah.
So you think that's it. You think poof. And then the article comes out.
And it's so gorgeous.
It's so gorgeous. Yeah. He thinks it's going to be a takedown. It's actually a love letter to him and how she regrets it. What's hilarious to me is that he doesn't read it. He just reads the pull quotes.
Yeah.
Classic man. I'm like, Joe, did you read my article? And he's like, yeah, I did, yeah. But it's enough for him to go running to get her at the magazine's office. She's not there because she's decided to take a serious political job in Washington, D.C.
Here she goes.
So
She's got her dream job, guys.
He has to run after her. So he's on his motorbike, vroom, vroom. She's in a New York yellow cab and he's chasing her through traffic. And somehow he gets the taxi driver to pull over on the Brooklyn Bridge, which you just cannot do. It's very
literally
dangerous.
Doesn't happen. But again, dangerous. Iconic moment.
Yes. And they both basically say they're sorry. He has also brought the love fern with him. It's dead now, but it's present.
Again, it's like gestures, people. Like acts of service. Like it doesn't need. It genuinely didn't need to be like,
that big.
But it didn't need to be 12 red roses. It was like, no, let's try and get this thing back together again. Yeah. And then she's like, no, fuck it, offside the bridge. I don't really care about it.
Imagine. But like, it's a great ending because it's a culmination. You want them to get together. Yeah. You're rooting for them. He accuses her of trying to run away to DC, whereas I'm a bit like, you know, you could make it work if she was in DC for a little while. Like, let her go follow her passion, Ben.
Also, aren't you working in advertising?
Yeah.
Just move.
Exactly. And also, their relationship should be so symbiotic because, you know, what he does and what she does go hand in hand.
Yeah.
But I think the gist is she'll get another job in New York. Be grand.
I mean, yeah.
But he's basically like, don't go to Washington. And she's like, okay, fine.
That bit killed me.
Yeah, I did want her to push back a bit and be like,
no, let's go do this together. But then, in the grand scheme of things, New York is sexier than Washington.
Well, you wouldn't have got the pan out where they're kissing on the bridge. Yeah. There's a pan out to Lower Manhattan and it's just
beautiful.
The pan out is another rom-com trope where, you know, the couple is kissing and the camera moves away from them to show this like iconic background, basically.
Honestly, like even just talking about this just made me so happy.
Oh god, like, your little face.
Yeah, but it's just the rom-com year. Like they do put you in such a good mood. You can just rewatch them over and over again.
It's a comfort thing.
Yeah, and like I do have to give props. We haven't really had a massive like rom-com like a situation in the last couple of years.
They're shite now.
But Anyone But You, I did love.
I liked Anyone But You, but I felt it was gappy. I felt there was loads of silence and loads of awkward bits. And I also didn't feel like they were very well matched in terms of ability. Is that mean? Like I thought they had good chemistry. Yeah. But I didn't think she was great at delivering the lines in a cutesy way.
Fucking loved her.
Did you? Yeah. So I love her in Euphoria and I love her in The White Lotus.
Yeah, okay,
where she's a little bitch.
But also, I think I need to rewatch it, because when I watched it for the first time, and I feel like I had such a drought in my life,
You were gagging for it.
that when I got it, I was like, oh my God. Like, I
A
can't
classic
believe.
rom-com.
Yeah, this is unbelievable.
Yeah, we need more. We need good ones. Like,
Brian loves a rom-com.
Does he?
Yeah, he'll sit down and watch them by himself.
Oh.
Yeah, and it genuinely, because it took him so many years of him being like, I'm not watching that shit. And then he started kind of side watching things with me, and then he started watching movies with me, and then I came home one day and he was just watching, like, he'll watch all Pitch Perfect, like 1 to 4 alone.
I see. Brian is like, he is a golden retriever boyfriend.
He is a golden
isn't he?
retriever.
A golden retriever fiance.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed.
I think he'll always be my boyfriend.
Yeah, even when you're married,
Yeah.
he's your boyfriend. The music is hilarious. So Matthew McConaughey's Ben, his seduction music is Nelly's Hot in Her.
Very of its time.
I'm sorry,
Like,
what?
It's getting hot in her, so hot.
That's for the
to
club.
Take off all your clothes.
I mean, it's instructional.
Yeah.
I get that. But he decides it's too raunchy that's more one night stand music, and he puts on Al Green, Let's Stay Together, which that is better. It's a better choice. But You're So Vain, an iconic song, reimagined.
But it like, I mean, the song you associate with that entire movie is You're So Vain.
Totally.
And her locked.
Yeah.
Like sitting on the top,
Yeah.
just singing away.
Talking about his small penis. And then When They Have Sex, Feels Like Home. Very naughty song.
Yeah.
Feels like home. Amazing. Iconic. There isn't, as I said, many quotes, but there is a lot of clothes.
Yeah.
So from the yellow dress, the jewellery, like it's a movie about jewellery.
Yeah.
There are
Start to finish.
unbelievable diamonds sparkling. And what's the catchphrase? Frost yourself.
Frost yourself.
It's not very good, but
It's
again,
shit.
it works in the film.
It's so bad. Like, you actually couldn't do that in real life, and
No.
not now, because everyone like, what is it, like
Frost?
a frosted donut?
Yeah.
Like, what am I doing here? No thanks.
Yeah,
Really don't feel like
it's
that.
pretty bad.
Also, frost yourself feels a bit cloudy for a diamond.
It's not a good line.
No.
Like they're trying to come up with synonyms for like ice
Yeah.
at one point, and it's just like, no, babe. But again, if it is an ad for diamonds, so
Yeah.
I mean,
full on head to head.
yeah. His tux has said Lana, the editor, wears a lot of kind of Eastern dresses. She wears like a lot of Chinese clothes. So like, and Japanese kimonos. She's wearing like those high necked, granddad neck dresses. Very Anna Wintour. So she's obviously cosplaying Anna Wintour. And Mrs. DeLauer is iconic in her red wig and red dress.
Like,
I remember being fascinated by her when I was younger, being like, this mad one. I want to be like her when I grow up.
well, you are on the right track.
Thank you.
Let me tell you this much.
DeLauer, dripping in diamonds.
Vicki, genuinely, I'll give you another 40 years, and that is
Maybe Joe will diversify into diamonds. That would be ideal. Tech to diamonds. That'd be perfect. So it is a classic rom-com. Like, he pays the cab driver at the end to take her stuff back. So he's like, I got to put her on the back of my motorcycle.
so sexy. I'm not trusting any random cab driver
To bring her
my
stuff back.
and put
As
it
if.
where?
Yeah.
Like, what, on the side of the street? Like,
Yeah.
you've now moved out of your apartment. It's like,
And he has this perfect little like wad of notes that he hands over, like he'd prepared for it. Again, that would give me the ick. I'd be like, I'll just get back in the taxi. It's grand.
fine,
I'll see you there.
Yeah, give me the fern. I'll meet you down there. Like,
But again, in the world of the film,
not a good ending.
it works. I mean, it's a good ending in terms of like it's satisfying in the film.
Oh no, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I mean, in real life, like,
No,
if
absolutely
we
not.
had decided to be like, that's actually going to give me the ick, I'm going to get back in the taxi. It's very, you've lost me here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now they did another film together a few years later called Fool's Gold.
Yeah.
I saw it at the time. I haven't seen it since, but it was more of an action caper than a rom-com.
Yeah. No interest.
No, they didn't. The chemistry didn't transfer. McConaughey tried to do a few more rom-coms. Now he's had an interesting career. Like, he then, after this phase, went into his McConaissance,
Right.
where he did like very serious roles.
I know.
But for a while, so he did The Wedding Planner, then he did How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, and then he did Fool's Gold, and he did Ghosts of Girlfriend Past.
Yeah.
And he did Failure to Launch with Sarah Jessica Parker. And apparently they hated each other.
What?
Yeah, apparently they did not get on at all. She did not enjoy his roguish charm.
I don't
I
believe
know.
it.
I feel like everyone likes Matthew. He's a nice guy.
Yeah, this is the thing. I'm like, he
Terrible film though.
genuinely just like sit there.
Yeah, he just has to say, all right. I'd be like,
all
I'm in.
In. See you later.
Where'd you get your Botox done, Matthew?
All right.
Yeah, apparently they weren't big fans of one another, and it's a terrible film. Failure to Launch was like the death throes of the rom-com and
It
the
was
naughties.
really shit.
Really shit.
Yeah.
Like, there was like Bradley Cooper and Zooey Deschanel in supporting roles. There's a weird CGI bird in it. It's really desperate.
It's not anything that I would go back and rewatch.
Yeah.
Like I've no interest in it. Like not.
Even though he leans on the poster.
Yeah, okay, fine.
I mean, if I was hard up, I'd probably give it a watch.
Yeah,
you know,
just throw it on because there's nothing else.
And everything is perspective now. Like it's like 10 years. I probably saw that 20 years ago.
Oh, easily. But what I'm saying, like at the time, it was like, yeah, it's
15
grand.
years ago.
But it's not in the realm.
It's no How to Lose a Guy.
No, which is like stood the test of time. Because even it's one of those ones too that like is filmed so well that it doesn't.
It's very well made.
Yeah, it doesn't feel old. Like when you're watching it, which some of them from the noughties, you know that they were shot in the noughties.
Yeah.
Like if you told me that this was done maybe 10 years ago, I'd be like, oh yeah, okay, fair enough.
I mean, I have no concept of time anymore. I think 10 years ago was 1994. So I'm just
sorry, we actually got caught the other day because there was something about the 70s. I think it was on Below Deck, and Brian was like, that makes no sense though because the 70s was 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, Brian,
no,
I don't even think it was 30 years ago when you were born.
Yeah.
Calm down.
It's wild though, isn't it? Like
so insane.
Enter your 30s, lose all sense of space
It's great,
and time.
though.
It is great.
Yeah.
It's a new era.
I love. You know how much I love being in my 30s. I like
do.
shout it from the rooftops to everybody. They're like, I'm turning 30, and I'm like, oh my god, welcome. It's class.
But you're having a very successful 30s so far, Laura Fox. So
yeah, I enjoy my 20s, but not half as much as what I enjoy in my 30s.
I love that.
But it's actually the confidence in myself. It's not anything to do with the success. I think it was the fact that I had accepted that no matter what happened, that I actually have a really great life. And it's really stupid, but I do sit down a lot of the time and be like, yeah, I'm really lucky.
Me too. I'm so grateful. Like I think we're very lucky gals, but we also kind of made these lives.
100%. But I'm not even talking about like career. Absolutely, work my ass off.
Everything.
For that. But I'm just like, I'm always like, I'm so lucky with Brian, and I'm so lucky with the friend group that I have, and my family. They're never going to listen to this. I love my family so much. I think they're absolutely class, and I love hanging out with them. But they're never going to listen to this, and if they do, I'll take it all back into tonight. You got to really sorry. Nono said about Brian before being like, yeah, he just knows how to just get on with it, doesn't he? Because like we just don't do anything but slag each other.
You're best friends.
Yeah.
You're best friends. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think that rom-coms ruined us, and then other times I think that they made us know what we want, what we deserve
100%
from life,
yeah,
and from love.
Where you're like, yeah, no, actually, you know, you can get a guy who's good.
You can,
even if they're good looking. They actually can still be sent.
They can still be sent.
They don't have to be dickheads.
Yes, we're winning. Thank you so much, Laura Fox. So excited to see you on Fit as Family and all of the mad things that you're going to do.
No, I'm so sad this is over.
It's over. I'm sorry. How many cheesy popcorns out of 5 would you give How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days?
Oh, 5. 5.
Not more?
Not, well, if I could.
You can give it 47 if you like.
I will give me 14 of them right now.
14 cheesy popcorns. I love it.